We've officially been on this mortgage payoff journey for 4 full years. We have a couple more days left of 2024, and that's it. And so when you make these huge goals at the beginning of the year, like a lot of people are about to do for 2025, you can make these goals or make New Year's resolutions, but are you actually going to keep putting the work in every single time you get paid to get you closer to that goal? When we first stepped foot in this house, it was not our plan to pay this house off in 5 years. We actually planned to do 10. But at times, you readjust based off what you've done, and you realize that it may actually be possible to achieve your goal even sooner. If you're someone who has the mindset of there's no way I can do this is impossible, this is too much debt, I don't make enough money. If you keep thinking that way, it'll absolutely be true and you'll never pay off the debt. You'll never have enough money. But you have to actually make a plan before you make an excuse as to why you can't get something done, and you get yourself so much further. There's nothing about us that is not the average person. I've never been to college. My husband has a license for his licensed practical nurse. No degrees in this household at all. I say that to say it doesn't take a ton of money to reach goals if you really can change your mindset, sacrifice for a little bit for a long-term gain. It's absolutely not an overnight success. We first had to take the time to say we want to be debt-free. We had 6 figures of consumer debt, 75 grand student loans, 30 grand in car loans, a little bit of credit card debt, and I knew that I would not be as comfortable as I'd like to be being a homeowner, being strapped down by all that debt. So we took years to pay that off first. And I think that the issue is that a lot of people compare their right now to someone else's chapter 5, chapter 10. If you're someone right now who isn't even a homeowner or sees the videos that I make and think that you'll never get there or think that it's so far off, this has not always been us. We've not always been debt free. So you have to take that time or put that time in if you want to make yourself more comfortable later. If we have debt still to this day, we wouldn't have all this disposable income in order to be putting it towards our mortgage every single time we get paid. So where I'm at right now with 2025, I don't really like New Year's resolutions because with me being such a goal-driven person, I feel that I will get so focused on that goal or that timeline that I want to achieve whatever by. And I feel like I'm in a season right now where I need to give myself a lot of grace, especially with me cutting my hours in the new year and getting approved to go part-time in 2025 instead of working 40 hours a week like most people do and like I have been doing for a long time. I'm going to be working 20 hours a week. And so right now, I don't even know what my paycheck's going to be like once that first part-time paycheck comes. But right now, I know that that's what I need for my mental health, for mental clarity, trying to run a household, have time to myself, the list goes on. If you've been missing the videos that I've been making about that, I have a whole playlist for you titled Work Burnout. I think before you even have to take a plan to pay off debt, what's important is changing your mindset. We never have to go without things per se, but control your spending so it's not going over the top. Put it in the budget. Say I'm going to spend $100 every 2 weeks on fun money for myself, and I'm going to leave it at that. Your mind is a powerful tool, and I do not think it should be underestimated how much control really lies in your mind. So changed our mindset, controlled our spending, became debt-free. That took us 3 years. And then after becoming debt-free, taking another 18 months, putting a lot of that same intentionality into saving up for a down payment on our house because I knew we wanted 20% down. A lot of times people go straight to let's buy a house when actually there's so many steps and so many things that go into that to really put you in the best possible financial situation. Not saying that everyone has to put 20% down, but I knew that that's what we wanted for us. And I knew that it would help us with no PMI, lowest interest paid, lower payment amounts. Like there's so many things that go into that it actually can benefit you to put 20% down. So there was a lot of overtime that went into that, side hustles and everything to get our income up. And we actually built this house. So once we signed the contract, we really kicked it into overdrive because we knew we had another 6 months or so before we actually needed all the rest of the money to get in this house. We also bought down our interest rate. And yes, even though we knew that we would be paying off our house early, we still chose a 30-year mortgage because I wanted that payment amount to be as low as possible. Life happens and we can't predict the future, especially not 5, 10, 15, 30 years down the road. If something were to happen, I want to know that that payment is as low as I possibly could get it. You just never know what can happen. So sometimes you have to prepare as much as you can, but also say, what can I do to help my future self in the event that we lose income, there's an illness. So let's look at what we've done so far this year. So this is 2024. This is everything we've done so far this year. It started at $91,550, and you just have to chip away at it every single month. Stay encouraged. know that your current balance is not your ending balance. Every little bit of extra payments that you make is getting you closer and closer to your goal and further away from the minimum or the 30-year mortgage / 15-year mortgage that you signed up for. So starting out in January, the first payment that we made, any payment that we make in 1 month is actually the payment due for the following month. So payments that we made in January is what was due for February 1st, etc. Started out paying $228.80 in interest, and we ended the year paying $95.76 in interest. So more than cut that in half. Our minimum payment is the $1,071, and then we would typically just pay $2,000 the first paycheck. Second paycheck is when we pay a little bit extra, $2,500 the second time. So how much we paid in total this year, it adds it up for you in the bottom left-hand corner. $60,000. If you guys don't know, we definitely take advantage of 3 paycheck months, meaning if we get paid 3 times in that month, which typically happens twice a year, I'd set an extra $1,000 from his paycheck and an extra $1,000 from mine, just equals an extra $2,000 per month. So those months really get us ahead. So the 3 paycheck months this year was, it looks like May and October. So in May we paid $6,600. In October, we paid $6,625. So every month we're sending about, let's say, $3,500 extra. And with our income, that came to $100,000 net this year. So that's about how much we brought home. $60,000 of that went to our mortgage, but $12,800 of that was minimum payments. So you could say we sent about an additional $47,000 to the mortgage that we were not required to send this year. So that was, which is more than I brought home alone. So I grossed about 55, but I brought home about 35. Things that would come out of my check aside from like federal, local, and state taxes would be 401k, health insurance. And then yes, we did bring home 100k this year, but obviously everyone's income varies. It also is going to depend on where you live. We're in the Midwest, so we bought our house for in the 300k range. Our mortgage started at $254 after the down payment. But if you're in someplace else, like on the East or West Coast, your purchase price could be significantly more, but your income is also probably significantly more. So I just really think that we kind of have to cater everything to our own situation. And towards the end, I'm going to run you through a mortgage payoff calculator showing you what the plans are for 2025 with my income being reduced. The amount of interest we paid this year was $1,975.60. Principal, $58,024.40 for a total of $60,000. And yes, I love roundabout numbers and I wanted to make it $60,000 on purpose. I don't know, guys. I don't know if you guys get it, but sometimes just looking at these numbers, it's just so crazy and surreal. I'm so glad that we've put all of this behind us. And right now, we only have 33k left for the remainder of this journey. We'll compare it a little bit to over the years. In 2023, came to $59,580. But the interest that we paid was about double. That time it was $3,681. That's how much interest we paid last year. 2022 was the year that we paid the most that we've ever paid in a year. It was $67,550, but that was also the year that we've made the most that we've ever made because I did so much overtime that year. I grossed like at least $25,000 just in overtime alone. Obviously, I never want to do that again, to be honest with you. But you can see how the interest has changed over the years. Like in 2022, we started out paying $523 at the beginning of the year. In comparison to this year, started out with $228. So over time, paying additional to the principal over and over and over again, just it really gets you there. 2020 was the year that we closed, so was not paying very much additional to principal. Our first payment was due November the 1st. So now I'm going to show you what it's going to take us to pay it off. In 2025, our goal is November just because that's when our first payment was due. So if you don't already know how to run a mortgage payoff calculator, this will show you. So as of right now, our balance is at $33,526. This is our minimum payment that I'm putting in and our interest rate. So let's start with what it will look like for a normal repayment. If we paid the minimum starting next month, this is what it would look like for us. We would pay it off 2 years and 9 months from now, and the remaining interest we'd have would be $1,427.72. Now, my mortgage company does not allow us to do biweekly repayments. They won't let us put the payment amount in for less than the minimum, but just for funsies, we can see how it would impact it if we chose to pay biweekly. In case your mortgage company lets you do that, you can see how it'll impact it. So in our case, just because our mortgage is already so low, it would only save us 2 months by doing that, and it would only save us $95. But if you started from the beginning of your loan, it would help a lot. We'll use this example that's already here. So this is an example of if your original loan amount was $400,000, you have a 30-year mortgage, a 6% interest rate, and you're 5 years in on your loan. Biweekly payments by doing this specific loan term, this would save you $61,869, and it would save you 3 years and 10 months from your payoff. So realistically, what we're looking like, I've already run the numbers a little bit, and in order for us to pay off by November, we would need to send an additional $1,900, which, like I said before, with my full-time income, we were sending about an additional $3,500 to $3,600 per month. This is about half, but it's a little bit more than half. So if we did send an additional $1,900 to principal, in addition to our minimum payment, that would have us pay it off in a year from now. So December. But remember I told you about 3 paycheck months. Technically, since I'll have part-time income instead of full-time income, I'm not even going to configure my own income in that scenario. So I'll just say if on 3 paycheck months, which we'd have 2 per year, my husband's check, we sent an additional $1,000. That would be $2,000 in the year of 2025. Another cool thing about this site is that it'll show you month by month what the breakdown would be if you followed this scenario. So you just click on view amortization table. And by the way, if anyone wants this, it's calculator.net, and it lets you search for a mortgage payoff calculator. So this would be monthly starting pretty much in January. This is what it would look like for us. So I'm looking on the right side here with payoff, meaning if I paid that additional $1,900 per month. Remember, I said $2,000 extra in 2025 is what we could do with 3 paycheck months. This is saying in December of 2025, I would have $1,364 left to pay. But if I could send an additional $2,000 during the year, I would just cancel out December completely, and that's how I'd pay it off by November of 2025, plus a little bit more, Realistically, it's going to be kind of tight to get there, but obviously I'm going to do everything I can to do that. The good thing is the first paycheck in January, it's going to be a normal paycheck, and then some, actually, because my husband is working. He's worked 2 holidays during that pay period, which will be Christmas and New Year's Day. That's going to make the paycheck even more than our usual for full-time income. So I'm going to try to lean into that and just fully prepare us for January, paying that $1,900 extra in that month. And then hopefully I can start making some extra money in other ways by February, hopefully with YouTube, just being as consistent as I can. I'm not even counting on TikTok anymore because I just barely make money over there, you guys. So that's my plan for 2025. That's how I'm hoping we can get it done by November. I know a lot of you guys have so kindly said you think that we'll still pay it off by our original goal, which was July. And I appreciate the kind words, but realistically, mathematically, I don't see how it can happen unless we have something totally out of left field, which I definitely will accept. But realistically, I can only plan for our income. When it comes to making other goals and things like that, with the income just being very uncertain, I don't know. I know that I just talked about how I want to start sending an additional $50 pre-tax to our HSA, which isn't a whole lot, but it's something, and I'm just trying to better prepare us for those things that come up. There's sinking funds, there's savings. I don't know what the new year will bring. We're going to be doing the best we can. I know that this wasn't expected for us to not pay it off by July, but luckily we've been working so hard over the years that now we can even do something like this. We can even decide to pay less and have me cut my hours in half. That's a blessing to do, and I don't take it for granted. Very confident in this decision to do that. Like I said already, I know that not everyone is at that point where they're ready to throw so much at their mortgage. Whatever the goal is for you, let this be your sign to make 2025 a year that you didn't think you could do on the first, but you said, hey, what if? You made a plan to do it, you executed, and now you're on the way to changing your life forever. So please like the video, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you in 2025.